Guadalupe Hurt. I am the co-founder of Second Act Women. I'm here with my work wife. Hello. That is me. Miss Barbara Brooks. We are with Second Act Women, and we are super excited to have you here today. I'm just screwing on the mic here.
Perfect. All right. Awesome. Well, first, let's get just through some of the formalities of Denver Startup Week. We want to thank Amazon, Capital One Cafe, Dell for Startups, and the Downtown Partnership for their support of Denver Startup Week. As you know, this sessions wouldn't be possible without all these amazing sponsors. So kudos to them. Thank you so much for making Denver Startup Week. We appreciate you all. All right. So let's dive into this. You are attending how to go from corporate to the CEO of your own company. Who here are CEOs of their own companies? Yes, ladies, love it. All right, well, you've come to the right session.
Who's going to be? Because they're about to start.
Oh, there we go. Love it. All right, well, y'all have come to the right session. Awesome. So here's kind of what we have on the agenda for you today. We've got an amazing group of ladies, actually Second Act Women members, that are going to be talking to you and answering questions on these 4 key categories. They'll be sharing their own personal insights and journeys, so stay tuned for some just great insight. And then my work wife is going to lead you at the latter half of the session through a workshop on how to create your own CEO workday strategy. So with that said, we are going to dive right in. For those of you that do not know who Second Act Women is, or we've piqued your curiosity and that's why you're here, let me tell you a little bit about who we are. So we are a pro-age membership community really focused on helping women gather and grow both personally and professionally. And we do this through a myriad of events, education, but most importantly, it's community, bringing women over 40 and 50 plus together to learn, thrive, and work together and support each other in their second act. We have been featured, we've been featured in Facebook Accelerator program. Last year, we are the graduates. We were the first organization to be part of their North American cohort, which was 1 out of 31 organizations, but more than 14,000 communities applied to be part of this cohort. So we were super honored to be recognized for our work to advance and tackle gender and ageism. In addition to, we were also recognized as influencers in aging by Next Avenue magazine, which is the online PBS platform that looks at having these conversations and what influencers are doing in the marketplace to forward this conversation. So if you want to connect with us, please join our Second Act Women community. You can snap this QR code to join our community if you're not currently in it and be part of an amazing community that supports you.
So today's purpose, I have to sneak over here. Today's purpose for today, I am Barbara, and as you noticed, we put our ages down, and we are an we're believers in intergenerational workforces and teams. So those of you that are not quite 40 or in your 20s, we support you, we are here for you. We also make sure that our community also welcomes every single woman because you're all badasses. So today you're going to gain insights and examples of being the CEO of your own company. We're going to give you real tips and advice from all of these ladies and then in the workshop as well. Now on top of that, we plan to inspire you to go the distance. Never ever give up. It's going to be hard. It probably has been hard, but never give up on being the owner of your company and providing I should say, the services and products that you do provide your target customer. You're going to get CEO Day promptless. Ever heard of a CEO Day? We're going to encourage you to host one for yourself. And then lastly, we want to demonstrate to you in a lovely video how unstoppable you are at 21 plus and particularly at 40 plus when ageism comes into play. So let's get started.
Fantastic. All right. Well,
Whoops, that's me. I had planned on having this. It's on my cell phone. Listen, we do want to power you up and know how unstoppable you are because check out this stat. What does that stat say? That was pre-pandemic. Can you imagine the number now? And as you see, we sourced it, so you're welcome to go to that source. It's a wonderful PDF that will provide you a ton of information because you are a minority. You're a woman. So remember that. So 1,821 businesses a day were started in America pre-pandemic. So we want you to know that you are a part of this economy. You are a vital part of the overall economy. And we just want to know that, again, you are unstoppable.
All right, I'm back. With that said, I wanted to take a minute and introduce the amazing panel that's here before you today, ready and willing to share their amazingness, truths, and journeys with you. So we are going to start off with Miss Yvette. The question is, where did you work and why did you leave to start up? But give your name first and a little bit about where you were and then what you do now.
Okay, great. So my name is Yvette Gonzalez Flower, and I worked as a trade show sales executive for about 12 years. I have 12 years experience. And during 2020, when the pandemic hit, guess what? No one was attending trade shows in person anymore. So being a full commissioned salesperson, I went from a six-figure income to not a six-figure income. And so I then decided to start my own business and get trained and certified as a leadership coach. So 2020 brought some challenges, but for me, I found my purpose-driven life from it.
Perfect. Well, we're excited to have you here. Lisa.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lisa Alici. And interestingly, I started my career 40 years ago in this very building. So I had goosebumps when I drove up today. I haven't been in it since. My last job in the corporate world was as Director of Development for the St. Joseph Hospital Foundation. I left when I was 60 years old, 3 years ago, to become the coach of adults living with attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, or ADHD. I left because I had been doing it as a side gig, and what I realized was that I was being more fulfilled by doing that side gig than I was by my 40-hour-a-week day job. So it only made sense to make that my 40-hour-a-week day job.
Wonderful.
So that's it. Sarah?
Awesome.
Hi, I'm Sarah Blake. I am the founder of Sarah Blake Consulting. Not very original name. I have over 20 years of experience in corporate America. Most of those were working with a defense contractor, aerospace company. I held a number of different positions, got way too many professional certificates. And what this led me to is that I really care that people find alignment with their values, their stories, and their surroundings. I did not have that in my corporate life. And it took me, I'll be honest, I'm still slightly going through my detox. It took me well over 4 years to detox from my amazing experience in corporate America. And I want to fast track that for people that are currently in corporate America and how it's for you to find your alignment with where you are, or when you leave, that you're able to fast track whatever that next step is for you through your personal alignment.
So my name is Sheila Hatfield. I'm the co-founder of Symetrics Inc., and we do IT consulting and agile software consulting for businesses. And I left because I wanted flexibility in my life. I wanted to be able to be a mom to my kids and also be successful in the corporate world as a business owner. And so we started our business right around the time I had children, and my husband also was in the corporate world and he ended up leaving. We decided to partner up and make our way in the world ourselves. And I have to say it's been very fulfilling to have a lifestyle that you can choose. It is hard and it's not easier than the corporate world, it's different. But you have that flexibility to mold that business into how you want to live your life, and that's very powerful.
And of course, Barbara again. So I actually worked in the shopping center industry, a little bit different. Yes, malls have marketing departments. So I was the senior marketing manager my last position of Park Meadows Retail Resort. Never call it a mall. It is a retail resort. And so most of my career, my 20-year corporate career, was in the shopping center industry all across the United States, from Dallas, Fort Worth to New York, Vegas, Texas, back home here. And I also dabbled in radio and TV as well, because I got burned out in the shopping center world, but then ended up back in it, which is how I ended up at Park Meadows. But I left because I became an accidental entrepreneur. Sadly, my dream job was no more at Park Meadows. And so I created, with her, because we had met when I was at Park Meadows, we actually shared a client, and we decided to create a marketing and PR firm. And then fast forward, that was 2011, fast forward to 2018, and that's where Second Act Women came on board. So there we go.
Wonderful. And my name is Guadalupe Hurt. As I mentioned, I'm the co-founder of Second Act Women. So as you heard, there's obviously a multitude of reasons why women decide to start up.
What's your background?
And, oh, okay. Very true, very true. Okay, so a little bit about me. I'm a four-time entrepreneur, two of which I've started with my work wife, Barb. I'm also an associate. I was a former associate documentary producer on a film that looked at culture and identity. And my background is primarily in public relations. I've been in PR for about 25 years plus, and now taking advantage of side hustles in copywriting. But that's led me to kind of like, as you can see, I've had a multitude of experiences as well too, but we all have kind of different journeys for kind of getting to where we've been, and I'm sure all of you, if we took a poll, have your own reason on why you want to start up. And that's the beauty about entrepreneurship. So let's dive in. So we're going to talk a little bit about business growth. So let's start with you, Yvette. So as the CEO of your business, what have been your biggest hurdles to scaling your business?
Oh, my notes just fell on the ground, so let's wing it. Oh, thank you. Well, I think the biggest hurdle for me was thinking that everything was urgent and important, because now I was the one in charge of everything, right? So I went throughout my day like a chicken with her head cut off, because I wanted to do everything myself. And then guess what? I have 3 kids that are teenagers now, but I had to run around, pick up, drop off, volunteer here and there. So that was the biggest hurdle to scaling my business. But when I finally figured out how to put things in different buckets and prioritize urgent and important things that I can actually plan for with blocking my schedule, and then eliminating things from that list or delegating things from that list, then I was able to scale and use my time better.
Sarah, let's have your opinion on that too.
I have a lot of opinions.
I thought you would.
On hurdles, because I have had and continue to have a lot of hurdles. One of them, which is why I have my notes, is I have been clinically diagnosed as having ADHD 20 years ago, when I actually got kicked out of undergrad because my grades were so bad. I do have my master's, so I have been figured out how to move along with that. So top level, I think I can do it all. I can help solve all of your problems. I didn't niche. I wanted to be a coach. I wanted to be a change management practitioner. I wanted to be a strategist. And that just left me all over the place. So you got to get really clear. Again, ADHD has me going off in other directions. Barb and I have talked about this. So, well, not the ADHD, but being single, being a single business owner, all of the finances, the business and your personal finances fall on you. So reinvesting in your business looks a little different when you have to pay your bills on your own and then investing in your business. And I invested in myself, which I highly recommend you all invest in yourself. I did way too much of that, so I got way too many different opinions. So those were the top hurdles of scaling my business.
So I'm going to jump on top of that on both of them, saying that for us, it was doing all things, marketing, public relations, and those hats are familiar to me, and those were my wheelhouses. So to actually have to do my own accounting, my own, at the time, bookkeeping with, because it's all different, my own graphic design, which I was familiar with in the mall industry. However, usually we get templates and we're doing, we're like plugging and playing. It's, a matter of managing your finances and your expenses. And the biggest thing was listening to too many people as well. Recently, Lupe and I decided to untangle ourselves. What had happened when we started our company 4 years ago is we had so many things we wanted to do for women over 40 and 50. We started as an event company. We launched a very successful Biz Live Con. We're headed into number 6 next year, but we were originally an event company. Then we launched our paid membership platform. Then we wanted to do retreats. Then we want to do a podcast and YouTube, like everything. We have an unscripted series we want to do, literally. There's so many things that we had out there that when we were brand strategizing with the company that we had hired a couple of months ago, we were like, what the? I know we're in a public place, so F-U-C-K. We have way too many things that we're doing. And so we decided that we were going to hire people. So we have put back the money that we got from Facebook, 80 grand, and put that back into hiring people that their wheelhouse is digital advertising placement and things like that. So it was listening to too many people and also defining our top revenue stream. Remember, that is why you're in business, is to replace that corporate job that you had and go bigger. So, and we'll talk about that a little later on, but it was also, defining what that number 1, number 2 revenue stream was going to be.
Yeah. How many can you relate? Can you all relate to some of the pains and hurdles that these ladies are talking about, right? But there's opportunity and there's growth within those two, so don't be dismayed. So let's move on to our next question. So let's talk about marketing and business development. So what type of marketing has worked for you to attract new clients? And Lisa, let's start with you on that one.
So I think you all might be different because you're of a younger generation, but I've got to tell you what's good about me is I know my strengths and I know my challenges. And what I knew was I wasn't the one to design my own website. And I'm not a marketing specialist. So the first thing I did was put some good money into hiring a marketing specialist who knew how to design a website, not a web developer who thought she knew marketing, but a real marketing specialist. The second good thing I did was against the advice of everyone who I know who is an ADHD coach, I kept my marketing specialist. I don't know how to market. I'm a coach. I don't want to market myself.
Right.
My marketing specialist is outstanding. So I kept her. She's done a fabulous job for me. I have had a full calendar since I opened, which I always used to think was luck, and I don't think it's just luck anymore. The third thing I did was have a presence on the websites of every national and international ADHD organization that exists. So they all work together. People who have ADHD don't just peruse ADHD sites. They go there when they've first been diagnosed, or they go there when they have a crisis and they're looking for help. So my target marketing worked really well. I was there when they needed help. And it drove them straight to my website, which was well designed, drove them straight to me, to my calendar. Even today, 85% of my business comes from my marketing efforts, and only 15% comes from referrals.
You know what I like? You know that. You know those data points. Yeah. That's very important.
And Sheila, tell us a little bit about your journey.
So, as an IT company or technical consulting company, we have to maximize the billable hours and put ourselves out there as experts. And people like to do business with people they know, like, and trust. So, we spent a lot of money in the beginning doing traditional advertising, just advertisements in magazines, just pictures and words, right? And it didn't really help. Like, we wasted a lot of money on traditional advertising. And we decided there's got to be a better way, so we started tapping our networks. We found out about leads groups. We started working with the community, speaking at conferences, talking to people that are on our LinkedIn networks, going to leads group, going to conferences. And that has been a huge turnaround for us, especially when you're positioning yourself as a consultant, a technical expert, a coach. You need to present yourself in a way that you are going to be networking with people seeking those things, right? And having an ad in a magazine is not how most CEOs or other, people that make six figures in a business who might hire you are going to be spending their time, looking through a magazine, right? They're going to be at conferences, they're going to be out there. And that has been a huge lesson for us.
Perfect, thank you. In business growth, obviously, you need to be able to put yourself out there. And the reason being is because we're not in business just to do good. Well, yes, that is important. We're all in business to do money and make money. And there is nothing wrong with creating impact and making money, because this is honestly is your future. You're investing your time and your efforts. So let's figure out how we can all get paid. So let's talk about revenue model. So Barb, let's talk a little bit about what we're doing with Second Act Women from a revenue perspective.
Yeah, and hopefully you all, if you haven't had the chance yet, have created your own revenue model canvas. Google revenue model canvas, revenue strategy canvas. There's a ton of different names for it. But it is something that I highly recommend you doing, because we were able to focus on, through our Facebook Accelerator program, figuring out, that our revenue model is really membership, community. It's three-pronged. So the first two are membership at $289 a year, and we set goals, smarter goals for that. And then secondly, that's our secondary goal, by the way, is our membership platform. Membership, our first revenue generator is actually corporate America, is speaking and leading workshops in corporate companies, like with the large contract that we just signed with Western Union. And then combine that with the fact that we have the audience that companies want. That's women. And now specifically, that's women over 40, because our buying authority is $15 trillion. Yeah, lookism, brandism, all that kind of evades marketers, except for the Doves and the Targets and all there that get us. So those are the companies that we are seeking to partner with for very large dollars on brand collabs and for money and affiliate marketing. So it's things like that. I'm sorry, that's our revenue model.
And then obviously from like a consulting standpoint, there's obviously a lot of professional services, and Sarah, you're a coach. So tell us a little bit about how you structured your business.
So I do have a business plan, but being prepared for being asked these questions, I actually had to Google revenue model to make sure I understood what the question was going to be that was being asked.
Fair. Knowledge is power.
It is very much power. So my business, I am an emotional intelligence and leadership coach, but I'm also a consultant. And so my revenue stream as a consultant is through project revenue, which means I'm a 1099 back to a larger company, typically through another consulting firm, to then work with a client. On my coaching business, it is a service revenue model where I have people sign up for 6 to 12 month coaching packages, masterminds. And so it's two different revenue models depending on what type of work I'm working with someone.
And that's the thing. Like, I think it's understanding what your business is set up to and what your end goal is will help you determine what your primary, secondary, maybe even tertiary revenue model is. But then making sure that you're supporting through your marketing efforts and your communications, that you're feeding those in that priority will ensure the livelihood of obviously your organization. Now, this next question we had to add here, because I don't know how many of you have ever been asked, hey, you know what, can I pick your brain? How do you handle that question? Because obviously time is money, and so many of us are always looking for advice, and hey, advice is great and networking is fun, but at the end of the day, those are time spent on communicating versus actually doing efforts on your business. So Yvette, I'd love to hear kind of like, how do you handle that situation? Because we get it asked quite often.
We do, because I am a productivity coach that focuses on helping people lose some of that distraction and gain some more momentum. So what I have found with that, Lupe, is a $99 session to pick my brain. So on my calendar, there is a sign up where you get me for 90 minutes. So I think that's a pretty good deal, but then we actually work on an actual strategic plan. So I've decided no more freebies. I mean, you have to do it for a certain amount of time, right? You need your referrals and your testimonials, and you need all that to get going. But once you've gotten going and you've gotten enough people that support you, then you say, I'm charging for my time, and I would love to meet with you. So you say, yes, I would love to meet with you. And here is my calendar invite so that we can chat more about that and actually get you a plan that you will like at the end. And you will see, are we good to work together? Because if we are, then you'll want to hire me.
I love that, because I think at the end of the day, it gets a little revenue in your pocket, but then it also probably weeds out those, individuals that maybe aren't as serious about what you're going to offer or how you can support them, and at least gives you, time spent on being able to connect with those that will hopefully continue to invest in your business.
Yes, my target market is going to be able to afford $99 and plus some.
Plus, we have to remember, not only when we're talking time is money, when they are asking you for your advice or consultation, you're the expert in whatever field it is. That's money. You're helping them grow their money by providing, or their business or their service by providing the knowledge that you bring. And that comes with any age. There are YouTubers, by the way, that I listen to. Michelle B, for instance, out of Australia. She's in her 20s, early 30s, and her knowledge, I've signed up so many times for her things, I'm telling you. So age doesn't matter when it comes to that, but you need to be paid, as she said, once you get those testimonials, because listen, we did it too. We did a lot of freebies. But once you build that foundation, it's time to get paid.
And Sheila,
I would just like to add, I think when you're networking at conferences or at leads groups, people are just talking, and there's not really an opportunity to say, hey, can you pay me for this time, because I'm just here talking to you, right? So you might get questions about, hey, I'm planning this IT rollout, what should I do? And I'm always answering those questions. First, because I've already planned to be there. It's time that I was planning on spending, talking about the business, positioning myself and my company as an expert, so that not only can I give them ideas on how to do it, but I can tell them that we can do it for them. And then second of all, always at the end, or at the end of my spiel, which I'm always looking at opportunities to present solutions to them that then they could use us to fulfill. But then my question to them is, how can you help me? What is your expertise? Who do you know? Who do you know that's looking for IT? What businesses do you know that are moving or may need new computers or new network installed, or might need migrations for their CRM system? Those are all questions that you can then reciprocate with, and because you help them out first, oftentimes the return is bigger than what you gave them. So I would just put that out there too. There is an opportunity to say, hey, I need some payment for this because we're actually going to focus on me helping you. But when you can't do that, always ask in return for that reciprocal, and you'd be very surprised at how much people want to help each other.
Yes. Yeah, and I love that. I love that idea of asking. I think for many women, we get stuck with this idea that we don't want to ask. ask for help, ask for referrals. No, ladies, our fellow counterparts are always asking for support and referrals. So you should be doing the same and opening new leads. So I love that suggestion. So I think with that comes the mindset, right? So we've talked money, we've talked business growth, but now it's also kind of taking and making sure you're mentally prepared to kind of move into that space and grow and scale your organization. So Sarah, let's start with you. So tell us about a time when you questioned your abilities or doubted your skills, and how did you handle that inner critic?
I doubt a lot of the time, and a lot of that when I talk about alignment with your stories, it was the stories that people told me of how I was supposed to be to fit into their boxes. So I was always having that inner critic because I was never going to hold up to everybody's individual standard of where they thought and how I should be showing up. So one of the big things I've done for myself is I work with coaches. I'm a coach, but I will hire coaches, and that has been one of the biggest shifts in that inner critic because I can acknowledge it and I can say, thank you, you served your time at one point, and I rewrite my story. I rewrite with where I'm at. Inner critic would say, you can't have notes at a presentation. Everything should be memorized. That's unprofessional. I need it, or I could talk to you guys for a good hour on just one question. So yeah, that working with a coach, that has been extremely helpful to rewire those stories.
And let's go ahead and ask Lisa the same thing. Oh, sorry, the question is,
I remember.
Yeah,
Yes.
the inner critic.
Yeah. So that's how my brain works. What? So I too question just about, probably 3 or 4 times a week. Am I a good coach? Am I earning my money? Are they getting something out of their investment in me? And what I do is go back to my tried and true strategy of fact versus story. So the stories are, I'm not a good enough coach. The story is, that client just stumbled on me. I'm never going to have another client, and many more. So the facts are, I have so many testimonials. I have had so many people tell me that my work with them has transformed their lives. And I guess last but not least, I come out of my office, and my husband too works at home now, which is both good and bad. But I'll come out of my office and say, God, I don't know if I did a good job that time. And he'll say, wait, remember when you came out beaming because you told me what a good relationship you had with that client who was really tough. Remember this time and that time. So it does help to have some support from friends or loved ones.
I love that. I think those are super important words to remember because we're all going to have crappy days. We're all going to have crappy client experiences, and we're all going to get it to that point in time where we're like, I don't want to keep going. But it's important to recognize that we are creating impact, and we're not going to check everybody else's boxes but our own. So making sure that you lift yourself up and remind yourself of those opportunities and those strengths. And when you do succeed, because the wins are important to celebrate, and we will be celebrating some wins here in a little bit as well too. But let's kind of go on to another major topic that definitely plagues women specifically, but most entrepreneurs in general, and that's burnout. Because burnout is real. It's that time when you think you could be everything to everybody and then some. Not just meeting their expectations, but exceeding expectations. And so tell us, as a solopreneur for twosome, how do you get it done? How do you get it all done without being burnt out? And Barb, let's start with you because we've been down this road many a times.
Yes. We've been down the road because she knows how to self-care and I don't. She will get up at 4 a.m. and work out for 2 hours a day, 6 days a week, literally, and I will be in bed Twittering or watching a YouTube or watching Good Morning America while I'm working. So so what happened was, though, in all honesty, is she kept warning me that burnout was going to happen. And we've had the company since 2018. And I have always been a workaholic in corporate America. I could be hungover the next morning in Dallas, where I used to live at one point, after being out with I'm telling you this for a reason, after being out with my friends the night before and go into the office knowing no one's there and get work done to prepare for the next week because that was satisfying for me. I always loved going in. And so now I still find myself doing that as an entrepreneur. I'm also single. I have a 4-pound pup. I have no other responsibilities, no kids. And so it's easy for me to, to pop over to a Starbucks or my home office or Tara workplace or someplace. So what happened was I was doing it too much and I was burning the candle like literally 12-hour days. And finally I broke down. I literally had an ugly cry with her. How many of us had the ugly cry? Over here, right? The Oprah ugly, not that she has an ugly cry. That's where I first heard it. Anywho, so I took off 2 weeks last year, whether we can afford it or not, frankly, revenue-wise. I took time off. She supported me in that effort, and I did nothing. I did absolutely nothing. And since then, coaches need coaches, so I'm a visibility coach. I have a life coach. I now believe wholeheartedly, hi Stephanie, in self-care, which I always thought was for the woo. I consider myself not woo, but I guess I am. So that's how I do it, is now Self-Care Sunday. It's a day that I literally have a kit, and I do stuff for myself, from my nails, after I clean my house, from my nails to like putting a neck warmer on that I got from someone. I know I'm still going on and on. So anyway, that's what I do. I've now learned it's a true thing.
So one of the things I've also found is when you're networking, you're going to conferences, you're meeting people, they might be in the corporate world, they might be somebody who you could sell to, but they're probably a lot like you, right? So you're meeting people that you're getting to know, like, and trust too. And so encouraging friendships and networking with those people after hours, doing things that you like together, setting up events for your clients where you can relax and do something fun, but also use it as a sales and marketing opportunity to build those relationships is really important. We've done paddleboarding with clients. We've done Top Golf. So not that that's 100% the answer, because you do need to disconnect and do self-care, right? You do need your vacations and your family time. But learning to balance and bring in those fun things that you like to do that help you relax, that you can leverage to build relationships that will help you in your business or even just in your personal life is really super important as well.
And Yvette, let's just get your last comment to kind of wrap up this section here too on burnout.
Definitely. So just like Barbara, I was a workaholic as well, and everything was fine and dandy. If you put anything in front of me, like winning a trip to Hawaii versus winning a trip or free lunch, I would be on it, and I would work however late I needed to get that. But then one day I could not remember the word to keys, and I couldn't remember simple words, so there was a lot of brain or chatter going on in my mind. I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, I wasn't drinking enough water. And so I had to take a step back, and I worked with a life coach as well and a nutrition coach. And I had to go back to what my values were. And when I'm living in my values, and my top 3 are my well-being, they're my relationships with my family, my friends, with my clients, and a purpose-driven life at work with my work. And so when I'm focusing on those, then I get excited about my day and I don't burn out as quickly, but I'm also intentional with my time. So values and intentional with my time. So there are time blocks for business development. And I also schedule fun and adventures. I love it. So keeping those things where I get excited about my day keeps me from burning out.
I think that's important. How many of you block out fun or date night or what, right? Like sometimes if we don't put it on our calendar, it just kind of never happens. And so if you live and die by your, planner system or whatever it might be, making sure you create those blocks is super important. I love that. Yeah. Go ahead, Lisa.
The one thing I think everyone here has said is you've got to know yourself. Are you an extrovert? Are you an introvert? How do you feed yourself? So I'm what my clients call an ambivert. I'm both an extrovert, but I need my time alone. So going out after work is really hard for me. It's the point of this is just know yourself. Take some time with yourself.
Yeah, one last thing I was going to add, something that we started doing too, that we even give to our members. We just created it. It's a live life list. So instead of a bucket list, because who wants to think about dying while you're doing something fun? For God's sakes. So I personally have been creating live life lists seasonally. So I have a fall list, and it may be go take pictures in a pumpkin patch. It may do what I did as a kid, which is pick pumpkins in a pumpkin patch. It's the simplest things, going and, making your own pumpkin, if you're a pumpkin spicer, making it at home or whatever it may be. Go find where the leaves are and jump in them like you did as a kid, or finish a puzzle. So it's those kinds of things that I discovered that has been really helpful for me too, is to literally create my own seasonal live life list. And you could Google that too, ladies and gents. You will find a ton of things online if you Google, seasonal lists.
Yeah, and one final just thought, it's not about necessarily creating a balanced life, because I think people that sometimes think there's this balance, I think it's honestly a bunch of crock, because it's not possible. And anyone who tries to subscribe to that is going to be disappointed every single time. It's a matter, though, of being cognizant about when you're feeling depleted, when you know that you're getting overworked, and recognizing that, and then doing something either on the front end or during or post, just to recoup. But being aware of what kind of your triggers are is super important. So that means making sure that you're in tune with yourself is super important. So let's go into this round, because as entrepreneurs, like we said, we've been there, done that, and many of us have made mistakes along the way that now we want to impart some knowledge about what you could have done better, or what you could have worked on to kind of prevent that, but knowing that mistakes are not a bad thing. Failure is not a bad thing. There's always opportunity to learn from it, but it's how you learn from it. And so we're going to kind of dive into this question about what's the best mistake you've made in your business. So Sheila, let's start with you on that one.
I'm over here.
Me? Pardon me.
Sheila. Oh my goodness.
Oh, Sheila.
Thanks.
All right. So I was thinking about this question and looking back over the years that we've had our business, and it's been quite the journey, and it's never turned out exactly the way our dreams kind of put it. But one of the things that happened was we were starting to grow. We had 5 employees. We were looking to move out of a home office situation and get into an office space. So I started pricing office spaces. And the things that were in our budget were mostly industrial areas that were not convenient to our home or our clients, like, lower end stuff that would just get us our first space. And I mentioned it in one of my leads groups, and a guy was like, oh yeah, we have some unused space in our building that we could offer you at cost. And I was like, great. So I went out there the next week and I started chatting with him. And he turned into this very high pressure, sales, coercive person that I didn't realize was him, and tried to convince me to pay an exorbitant amount for the small space that they weren't even using. And it just left this really bitter feeling, and I ended up agreeing to it verbally and then never talking to him again. Which was bad. But I looked back and I was like, wow, that was a crazy conversation. And then it really turned me off to even looking for a space. And we were looking at $2,500 to $3,500 a month for office space. So we never got it. And then, 5 to 7 years later, there's been this pandemic and everyone's working from home. And it turned out that what we really needed was meeting space to meet with clients and a drop-in office when we got tired of being home, when the kids were home or somebody was sick, and we just needed a space to get out. So we ended up going with a co-working space with a monthly membership. And we even got a receptionist service so they could answer our phones for us. So we had a professional front. We had a P.O. box. And we probably have saved $500,000 over 10 years over not signing a lease, because that's $40,000 to $50,000 a year, right? So, right. So it was amazing looking back. And now that the pandemic has hit, everyone wants to work from home. It's not a bad thing anymore, right? So it seemed like a really bad experience at the time. And we thought that was one of those symbols of being successful, was having a space for your business. And it turned out that that's not the case. And we saved a lot of money, and now we're still doing great. So
That's awesome. No, I appreciate it. And Yvette, let's get your opinion on what's the best mistake you've made.
So the best mistake I made was thinking I wanted to work with teenagers as their college admissions coach, right? So I actually dove in head over heels, met someone online, went and started training with her, and actually started leading some workshops. And then I started realizing this is not who I want to work with. But here's the thing. I only spent about 4 months in that little trial and error. I had to change some messaging around. I had to redo some photos on my website. And I realized, okay, this is what I don't like doing because of these reasons, and I won't go into those, because everyone's going to have their own preference of who they want to work with. But then I realized from what I didn't want to do, what I really wanted to do. And so I got even more excited about working with high achieving business owners and sales executives, since my world came from sales, being a top performing sales executive. So that taught me a valuable lesson, and I'm glad I didn't spend too much money or throw away too much money.
Yeah. We'll get Lisa.
So, as I think Yvette said, when you start your business, you think you have to go fast and go hard all the time. And you have to take every client who comes along. Any client is a good client. Wrong. I learned that the hard way. I must have taken 3 or 4 clients who my gut said, this probably isn't a good fit. And then what happened was I had to live with those clients for weeks and weeks and weeks. And the thing that's intertwined with that is, do I fire the client or do I keep the client and live with the client? So a few I did not fire, and I want to say that, in a quotes, in a kind way, but I finally learned that it was much better, number one, not to take clients who didn't feel like they were a good fit, and number two, to gently let them go, because you're not doing them any good when you are not enjoying the session either. If you're working harder than they are, that's a really good sign.
Right.
So I have learned to fire clients. Now I have a calendar full of clients I really look forward to every day.
I love that. Sometimes you just got to get rid of those that you don't want to necessarily work with. So on to our last question, and then we'll do kind of like a bonus round here. But so Sarah, let's start with you. In the first year of your business as a CEO, knowing what you know now, what are some key actions or tactics you'd recommend to others starting out?
I'm going to read from my list pretty quickly because I have
Go
a number of
for it.
things. First thing, treat your business like a business. Yes. A lot of times we don't do that. We still treat it like a side hustle. Have your CEO days. Create a business plan, and if you don't like the idea of a business plan, work with a strategist that can help you figure out what your strategy actually is and how to make it happen. Let's see here. Get concise and clear on what it is that you do. Create a long-term, short-term, and yearly goals, and then break those yearly goals down into quarterly goals and then weekly goals. It can be daunting. It is amazing what can come out of it. Network. The more people you talk to about your business, the more clear you're going to get on what your business is and who you serve and how you can help them. And it can lead to other clients because of a friend of a friend. So network. Continue to grow and learn and work on yourself. It is okay to move on from a coach that you had the first year of your business to the 5th year of your business. That's the goal. The goal is for you to grow and you outgrow a lot of times the people around you. Get an accountability partner or coach. That has been invaluable. I still have an accountability partner that I meet with monthly.
Love that.
And surround yourself with people who want to see you succeed. They don't have to be 100% like-minded. They don't have to be going down the same path, but they want to see you succeed.
Oh, those are amazing. I see people feverishly writing down stuff, so those were great tips. And Barb, let's get a few more tips from you to kind of follow up that act.
Because listen, little one over there stole a lot of mine. Everyone's little to me. I'm like, 6 feet practically. Okay, so I had to vigorously add more. All right, so going to back to the revenue strategy, definitely have a revenue strategy model in place, because that will actually dictate the direction of your company and also drive your what we call smarter goals, which I'm going to explain to you what smarter goals are when we do the workshop session of this. Definitely start with a vision. What is your vision statement? What is your value? What is the value statement, the USP? What is your mission statement? All those things really are collide into the business plan, but don't skip those. They're very important to literally have your vision statement. And also, do you have an elevator pitch? Do you have your 30-second personal brand statement, which is your elevator pitch? I have two. I have a personal brand statement and I have a business brand statement. So, and I think the other thing is stick to your fees and your deliverables. Don't let scope creep happen. It happens every time when you start a company. You get so excited to work with those clients, and then they add more and more and more. And you're excited to do it because you just started out and you want the testimonial and you're really excited about transforming that client and you're seeing success. Don't let it happen. Time is money. Have a goal to be a thought leader. That's one of the ways that you can elevate the brand, your business, who you are. So when you're at this conference for the next 2.5 more days, make it a point to meet other thought leaders. Make it a point, set some goals, and go to those events and make sure that you're meeting those people that you need to meet. And then lastly, because I think one of your goals should be to be on a panel. That's how we got here 4 years ago. This is our 4th year. I set a goal saying I want to be like those women, and I want to help others and be on the other side. And I already talked about vision. So there you go.
And I'm going to add one more to that just to kind of finalize it, is charge your worth. 100%. Don't second guess yourself on, what I should, could, or if you get that look of, are you sure that's what you're charging? No, yeah, that's what I'm charging. And you don't even have to justify it. Own it, exactly, 100%, ladies, because y'all have worked to where you're going to get, and you need to get paid for the value and the time that you bring to the table, so don't forget that. All right, we're going into our speed round with our last question about tangible tools and resources. What tangible tools and resources do you use for productivity and growth? And Yvette, we're going to start with you, my dear.
Don't forget to scan their QR codes if you want to get to know them more.
Yes, please.
Yes.
This is my go-to book. I brought my book with me. I didn't write this. Brian Moran wrote this. It's the 12-week year. And I actually use this book when I strategize with my clients. And the great thing about this is you're focusing on your goals for 12 weeks only. And you are working on how to execute on those goals. So information, someone told me information is cheap. You could get it anywhere on the internet. But if you are looking for some ways to execute on that information, you got to actually do it. You got to actually put a plan into place. So this is why I love this book.
So my tips are more on a day-to-day basis. First of all, I outsource my marketing like I told you. Second of all, I want to share this tip that I use all the time. It's called Text Expander. If you don't know it, get really comfortable with it. It saves me more time than I can tell you. Last, I have recently hired someone also from Second Act Women to automate my whole business, my payment system. Her name is Angie Veman, if anyone wants to get in touch with her.
We love Angie.
And she is streamlining everything, so automate, automate, automate.
I have an Excel spreadsheet of probably 150 lines of resources and tools. So again, I do too much and I need to narrow down. Network because you're gonna meet the people that have gone through the mistakes that can fast track it for you. So networking, do not enjoy doing finances and accounting. I mean, when it comes in, it's amazing. QuickBooks is a great Smarter Q helps automate your social posts. And if you, again, automate, I use Calendly for my calendar, and Canva. Canva is amazing. That's how we got a lot of our QR codes, is through Canva. And network. Find good professional organizations for you to become a part of. They're going to get you so much information. It is invaluable. Sheila?
So I have come from the corporate world for many years, and one of the things that corporations are jumping on the bus for is to be agile, to do that digital transformation journey. And if you're not familiar with agile planning or agile scrum, look into it. It's an amazing methodology for rolling out projects, tracking tasks, and understanding what's the smallest slice of work that I can do right now to create value so that I can sell it. And even if it's for me, if it's for my business, or if it's for my customers so they can sell it. So I can deliver value in every step of the process so that those deliveries that I do up front actually help fund further deliveries, right? So I'm actually making revenue on those steps. I'm a self-declared Agile coach. I do help people understand Agile, but there's lots and lots of resources out there. And the tool that I recommend is called Trello, Trello. It's a planning board. It's very versatile. You can make any stages or workflows out of columns, create tasks, move cards, and it's free for businesses and teams with under 10 projects to track. So check it out, Trello, Trello.com.
So on top of what she says is, oh yeah, there's my picture. So on top of what she says is we use ClickUp. So we use that as our productivity tool. It is so robust, it's ridiculous. It's new to the market, probably a couple of years. I highly recommend when you get in, it takes a little bit of, it's not hard to learn, it's just there's so many things that you can do with it that it's, that I recommend going on to YouTube and, and tubing it and figuring out some of the ways that you can use it. But we love ClickUp because we have several contractors that also use ClickUp or that we trained to use it. And so that's how we're doing our project planning. That's how we are assigning different things that someone else needs to do in order for that person to get their work done. So it's similar to Trello. It's just, and I've tried them all. I'm a geek like that. And for us, ClickUp works for us. We also, of course, love Slack, but we decided that for Slack, it's just for text messaging type, hey, did you get this done? Hey, it's not full on email information. It's not a task. It's just checking in on someone or sharing information. So we have a learning channel, so we're always finding great articles. And then we have channels for each one of our events or programs. But that's really just a check-in. Again, we use ClickUp for everything. Otherwise, you're going to get confused between, was it email, was it this, was it that? Get your business page up on LinkedIn. We're actually going to host a LinkedIn from Microsoft, which Microsoft owns LinkedIn. We're hosting an event on that. But make sure your business page and you yourself are active on LinkedIn so that you can keep those connections coming, and make sure that you're also posting and connecting with people that are in your industry and thought leaders. And lastly, we use HubSpot for sales. We love it. That's our CRM system. And then we use Constant Contact for our email. Boom. Everything connects. And WordPress is our platform.
Yes.
But they're all connected to Zapier and all that.
Right. Awesome. No, you can hold that. Okay. And so just click on that one. And then I think for me, on just a quick personal one, if you're all on Outlook, for example, I love the customization of the labels. I don't know about you all, but sometimes when I try to put stuff in folders or emails, I forget where I put them, honestly. So they've got just the cool feature that you can label everything based on your project. You can then archive it so you keep your actual oh my gosh, what am I trying? The folder, your inbox organized, but then you can just do a quick search for your label and it brings up all of the communication that you've tagged with that particular tab. That has saved me tons of time trying to find emails that I swear I thought I saw and I never found again. But with that said, ladies, this concludes our panel part of our presentation. We're going to now actually move into a hands-on workshop led by my business partner on on how to kind of create your CEO workday. So take a little quick stretch if you'd like, but we're going to kind of keep it going here.
Hello, Michael. We're going to do Q&A at the end, but this is your CEO strategy day. I'm going to provide you with a prompt list. Whoops. I'm going to provide you with a QR code to actually download your prompt checklist so that you plan your own CEO day. I guess let me just leave this here. I no longer need that. And we're going to do Q&A for everything at the very end. So get your pens and paper out. I'm going to have to stand over here so I can read. So I want to know, is this you? If you are answering yes to at least 3 of these things, you need a CEO day. You are missing a mission statement, lacking a written revenue and business goals. Rarely are you reviewing your financials or where you stand in revenue. You're unable to really eloquently say your elevator pitch. Maybe you're missing a content plan or a content calendar. Your work days are filled as the employee in your own company with tactical routines, day after day problem solving versus working on the revenue, working on the prospects, working on transforming your customers. You're not indulging in self-care. How many are indulging at least in I saw you go, right? Are you aware of your digital data? Are you reading your analytics on those platforms that you are specifically targeting your clients? And if you are, is that how you're adjusting your marketing plans and campaigns? And then lastly, what is your visibility online or offline? Your visibility is great here because you're attending Denver Startup Week and you're meeting and greeting people. But what do you look like and what foundation have you built on your digital platforms, whichever ones you use, from TikTok to Instagram to stories, whatever it may be? How are you being perceived, and also what messages are you delivering? Now, how many of you are lacking a lot of those things on there? It's easy, you can be honest. All right. That means you need a CEO workday. You need to set aside a time at least once a month, if not an hour a week, to work on your company as the CEO, as the Chief Executive Officer, which is responsible for strategizing, for developing and implementing, or making sure your folks are implementing your goals and you're hitting your revenue goals. You do not need to always be the employee who is constantly, again, working tactically on your company. That's very important. Don't get me wrong. But you need to set aside time reviewing your financials, updating your website. We even forget that sometimes. I have to put it on my calendar. I'm a time blocker. And I'm a color coder too. I literally have to remember to do that. Then the ADHD comes into play too, I'm sure. Launching your new campaign, like literally spending time on that day, figuring out what your new promotional campaign is going to be, or what your digital program is going to be, or your public relations, how you're going to increase your brand awareness for your company. People need to know who you are, folks. So again, you need to set aside time for your CEO workday. And it's just to knock out some of those things. So go ahead and download. This is a PDF that you're receiving. Once you open it up, this is your prop list. So and I'm going to give you a homework assignment. So when you are setting aside that time, you can decide, all right, Fridays are going to be, or Sundays if you're a Sunday worker and you take Fridays off, whatever it may be, or Mondays, for 2 hours on Friday from 9 to 11 a.m., I'm turning off my phone. I'm turning off the TV. For me, it's turning off the dog TV for my dog who loves it. And it's literally focusing in focusing in on that one thing. So I'm not saying on CEO Day you need to be doing all of this. You need to be doing something that is moving or working on moving your company and your revenue forward. That's all I'm saying. So is it doing a digital sweep? How often, okay, how many notes have you been taking today on your devices or on your notepads? And you get home and you get back to doing tactical work and you forget all that good stuff that you just learned. I would set a time aside for me at Sundays to go through all of my devices, wherever I'm one that's online, offline, and putting that where it needs to be. So if you're on ClickUp or Trello or Asana or Monday.com, whatever it is, or a spreadsheet, you need to make sure that those things that you're writing down that you need to do is under that project and ready for you to move on it. You know, it could be setting a hit list for customers and brand collabs. Who else do you want to meet during Denver Startup Week? Do you have people on your list? You should. Our list was Amazon. We met them yesterday. The Downtown Denver Partnership new executive director met Courtney yesterday. Time is money, and so you are here to also build your own business, right? But through, again, connections, genuine connections. Oftentimes, we're all about giving, 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 giving. All of us are, especially as women. Sorry, men. But that's important. And then having an accountability partner. I now have one for life, for the life coaching part. How many of you have an accountability partner or someone you can check in? I know you do, Lori. Yes, you do too? Yes. It's just like when you have an accountability. Lupe has one with her daughter for some kind of workout thing that you beat your daughter on. Personal development. It is so imperative. You heard all of our ladies, and again, they're going to come back up. You heard all of our ladies talking about personal development. So important. Again, one of the YouTubers that I love, it's more on the self-care and business side combined, is Muchelle B. So it's Muchelle B on YouTube. Love her. There are others that I can, lay out there, but, whoever you're following to build your company, and if you're not, find a mentor, whether it's a digital mentor, an accountability partner, or we have Michael Beavis over here, who's Director of Entrepreneurships and Innovation for the City and County of Denver. He's on our team to help us grow our company. So, did the list pull up on your digital devices? Yay, because I did that this morning. Sometimes things happen. So on that list is a checklist. And it will also, it's not just a checklist, but underneath, it gives you instructions on what you can specifically do under each one of those. Now, I want to throw it out to you guys. Does anybody take time, or has anybody taken time as they've started their company or in their company for their business as the CEO? And what do you do on those days? No, you're not alone. We literally just started this 2 years ago after I listened to another YouTuber. This is so important for you. Now, I do want to ask a question. What else would you add to your CEO day, considering your business? What else do you want to do on a CEO day? And I'll hand you the mic. Lori? Yay!
Meet with another CEO.
Okay, and what would you want to gain from that?
Just talking about, what it was like when they started, and any tips and, things that they can teach you that you might consider learning yourself to avoid. Yeah.
Love it. What else can go on that list? So add that. Yes. Oh, I need somebody to. Yes.
Reflect on what's gone well for you lately.
Reflect on. Oh, can somebody repeat that? What's gone well? Oh, reflect on what's gone well. Yes. Reflect on, celebrate the accomplishment. Take the rest of the day off. Go to Woodhouse Day Spa. Go to the park with your dog, whatever you're not affording yourself to do right now. I love that. Yes. Okay. Anybody else? Let's throw out another idea that you can do.
One of the ladies said to automate some of your systems. So maybe find something to automate, research the automation options.
Love it. Love it. Figure out a way to make your company a lot more efficient, automating your company. And if you're not familiar with Zapier, so if you do have constant contact and say you need to connect Squarespace, but it doesn't use Squarespace's app, if you use Zapier, just Google it, because I don't want to get into the nuts and bolts of it, but it will help connect the two. And next thing you know, now you've got one place, constant contact, to do whatever it is you need to do. Yeah.
I think like evaluate maybe one thing that you could take off your plate or delegate and how you could use that time better.
Yes, delegate. I know the productivity coach over here is happy to hear that. Delegate. How many of you are solopreneurs? Yeah, I feel you. That was, yeah. So what can you do, Yvette? What can a solopreneur do on their CEO day that when it comes to delegation or just in their business, what do you think they could do to alleviate some of the work? Maybe the budget isn't there. What else can they do you think? I know, I'm throwing it out there. Hire your children or a friend. Gather invoices. I love that. I love it. I love it. Solopreneurs, trust me, it's so hard, but it's so worth it. Never give up. Just create better systems or a system to ease a little bit of the pain that we go through and all of the platforms and programs that we're trying to get done in the day. And so I want you to take that list. Here's your homework assignment. It's like I'm a teacher, never have been, but here we go. You're going to set a CEO work day. Set your CEO work days for the end of the year and through 2023, and you're sticking with it. I mean, you can adjust as long as you're moving that to another day and you're doing it. That is your homework assignment, number one. You're going to review your Q4. Since we're coming up on Q4, guys, you're going to review your Q4 financials and your revenue strategy. If you don't have a revenue strategy, it's okay, especially if you've just started out. Just get something down now and make it a point to get the revenue strategy done at least by the end of the year or at least in the next couple of months, because that's how you're going to be making money. You need to know what to do and who you're going after. But at least say, okay, from now, or let's just say Q1, October 1st through December 31st, I'm going to garner 3 clients at $2,500 each. Whatever you may, that's if you're a service industry. If you have a product, whatever that may be, set your goals. Make it simple. Don't get tangled up like us in the beginning. Set a very simple goal for yourself. And then, as with what was said earlier, set the tactics, set the projects or the mini goals underneath that, and get on your calendar and your CEO days how it is you're going to move the needle every day or every other day on that goal so you hit it. So that you can pay, that, I don't know, Xfinity bill or something. I don't know. All right, so now you're going to create a 90-day plan with SMARTer goals. Again, the SMARTer goals are on the worksheet that I gave you. How many of you have heard of SMART goals? Okay, we added the E and the R. So our SMARTer goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relatable, time-bound, and you have to execute. And you have to reward yourself. That is the E and the R. You're doing all this work. So a lot of times we'll set a goal and we forget to actually execute. And then celebrate and reward those big efforts. You're working so hard in your company to transform lives or create products that will help a person or group. Celebrate what you are doing for others. And then lastly, or second to last, activate it. So that's the execute. Activate your 90-day plan. And then celebrate your wins come December 31st. If you're going out that night, make sure you're celebrating that specific win. Or if you're staying home with friends and family or you're just chilling, have a mocktail cocktail on you. Celebrate it. And speaking of, come on up, Lupe. We want to end, we do have a video that's really going to power you up. But before the video, and this includes you guys, and then we'll do a little Q&A too after the video. We want you, I don't know where the other mic would have went. That's okay. Okay. We want to celebrate your wins. You've worked hard, you're solopreneurs or you're entrepreneurs or you're small business owners. By the way, there's a difference. Google it. There's a difference between entrepreneurs and small business owners. Google it. And micro businesses. We're a micro business. All right, so who here has had a win this year or in the last couple of weeks? Let's celebrate it. Sarah Blakely. Oh,
I saw that hand go up.
International bestseller with it's a co-author book and it's Corporate Dropouts.
Oh yeah! International. How many of you have writing a book on your hit list? Any? Oh, I see one over there too. All right. Well, now you got a connection on how she made it happen.
Okay, just like, I think it was you. I quit my 6-figure job, started a company with my husband, and we already have 3 clients. And that just happened like since this summer.
Wow, congratulations. Took the plunge. I love it. Any others?
yes.
Up at the top.
I'm going to do the celebration button.
How about, can you meet me halfway?
I got you.
All right.
So me and my business partner, she's up there. We launched a podcast about 3 weeks ago, and we've already had 500 downloads on our podcast episodes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. What's your podcast on?
So our podcast is called No Offense, and it's all about curating self-love and collective liberation.
Okay, well, let's give her some love and let's check out that podcast and help her get to 600 perhaps down the road. What's that? Yeah, I think so. Oh, there you go. There's your confetti. Yay, let's give a round of applause. Oh, we've got another win. Hold on a second. Let's see.
22 years in corporate America, and I got my first client about 2 weeks ago, and I did my very first two coaching sessions this week during Denver Startup Week, so it's been packed.
Yay! Oh my goodness, I love it. Any more? All right, girl, give it to me.
So on my outgoing voicemail, I have something to the effect of I'm living in my values, I'm helping out my clients, blah, blah, blah. I got a client from that, and it was a RE/MAX corporate account, and I just went and spoke to 200 of their salespeople last week.
Yay, I love it. Congratulations. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. I was going to say, you know what, if you maybe didn't have a win to share today, like that's something to work towards. And making sure, I love that, Barb was talking about celebrating your wins, because oftentimes we let all of those like things that don't go well, or like, all the things that kind of we should have done or anything like that get actually our better part of us. And we need to remember that we need to celebrate all the good things, all the awesome things y'all are doing in your business. So making sure to make time for that is important.
Right. We are going to leave you with this, but stay because we still want to do Q&A. We are ahead of time. So here we go. Let's hope there's sound.
Hi, I'm 58. I'm 42. I am 59. I'm 55, and I am sophomore. We're here to provide an experience that will empower, inspire, and get you to move on. Regret more than age doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're here to help you move on and create your own second act.
It's hard to believe that today people think that women over 40 are past their prime. They obviously have not met you, the unstoppable women of second act women. Damn straight.
Don't they know that women over 40 and 50 don't expire? Like, they all just need to catch up with us.
So we created Second Act Women really because we envision a world that fosters rather than restricts the potential of women over 40 and 50. And let's face it, even through the pandemic, the community showed the true spirit and grit of women, who we really are today, and the fact that we are taking charge of our own lives.
Second Act Women meets you where you're at today and then delivers the tools, resources, and community to help get you to where you want to go.
Dazzling like with diamonds in the light, glowing in the night like fireflies.
Let's face it, the momentum of our community is gaining. It's unstoppable. Just in the last 3 years alone, we've been featured on Forbes, Fast Company, CBS Market Watch. We presented 3 times at Denver Startup Week, and this year we are part of Facebook's Global Community Accelerator Program.
We are badasses, and we're here to prove to the world that no one can mess with a woman over 40.
At 51, I couldn't get hired, so I did something about it. I started a company. I'm 55 today, and that company is Second Act Women. I am unstoppable.
I'm 48, and I'm on the biggest journey of my life, and I finally know who I am. That makes me unstoppable. I'm rocking life, not the rocking chair. I'm going after the best of both worlds. I'm in my second act and living my destiny. That's why I'm unstoppable.
We want to make sure that you know at any age you are unstoppable. Just because we said 40 plus, again, we are intergenerational. We preach it all the time. We honestly do. That is one of the reasons why when we do work within corporate, we want to make sure that they understand that you are important. Or if we're at a conference, we make sure that everyone knows age. You know, we all need to support each other. So all of you are absolutely unstoppable. And I'm going to go to the next one.
Absolutely. So with that said, we're going to take 10 minutes. We're going to actually just ask our panelists to come back up and see if there's any questions that you all might have on how to go from corporate to CEO of your own business. Yeah. And I'll just let you could, ladies, you could just kind of come up, no chairs, since we only have a couple minutes. Go ahead, Kat.
Katie, yep. So my question is, I realize I thrive and my innovation thrives when I'm working with someone else and we're like bouncing ideas back and forth, and I've felt pretty dang solo the last 2 months. And so my question, I've heard everyone say coach, 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 but what would you say about co-founding and seeking out a co-founder for your business?
Okay, all right. So from a co-founder standpoint, girl, I'd recommend it. Like, it has saved us. Like she said, we've had our ups and our downs, and to have someone to be able to be on the ride with you is priceless, honestly. And we complement each other really well. I think finding a partner that is not exactly like you is super important. Making sure that they bring different strengths to the mix, and making sure that you all have allow and create space for each other to shine and support each other is super important. So making sure you do your due diligence on who you decide to partner up with will be super key. Do you have anything else to add to that?
I didn't hear it, so I'm going to go.
I have something as well, Sarah, and I'll let you do it next. So my thing about that is I wanted the autonomy of being independent. I realized that in sales, that's why I thrived, because I worked with a team, but then I got to execute on my own and then oversee everything. So the way that I've been able to combat that without a partner is to have people for certain events that I work with. So it's a short project, and then we get to collaborate, and then I get to move on with somebody else. And I just did a workshop with someone, worked great, and now I'm interviewing other people to do workshops with. So that's how I'm going to not necessarily have a partner, but at least have it short term, so that there is, something about having someone else to bounce ideas off of.
Can I say how we came together? We collaborated. We actually, and then she asked me out and said, right? And she said, listen, I think we should create a company together and she still has her own company. I still have my Decibel, which was the company we had. But regardless, and Bloom by Barbara, but regardless, we started out collaborating, and because I knew I needed her skill sets to create some releases and she had some of the contacts I needed for a specific project, and I text her probably, I'm text her, hey girl, let's get together. Next thing you know, this is our third company together. And while it's like that, it's mostly like this, poor thing has had to deal with this big personality, but it's been worth it. And so you never know. And a lot of our contractors that we work with started out as second act women or people we've met at the Clayton or somewhere, I don't know. And next thing you know, we're all collaborating with each other. So that's how you create and being 1099s. I think that's a killer way to move your business forward.
So I had a really horrible experience with somebody who had their business for about a year and told me that they wanted me to be a co-founder with them. And I worked with them for about 19 months and never wanted to get anything in writing. So co-founding is very different than having a collaborator. And depending on where you are in your business, and it sounds like you're at the very beginning stages, be selective on where somebody else is in their process of starting a business. I think you guys have a very unique situation where it actually did work out extremely well, and that they had a vision that was aligned. So,
and I made her come along on this one.
Yeah. Have it in writing, right? Have it in writing, and there's nothing wrong with having collaborators as opposed to a founding partner. It's weigh the pluses and not going to say necessarily the minuses with it.
I would add on to that, like having a founding partner in your business is a lot like getting married. And it's a commitment, right? And if you get divorced or if you've been divorced, you know how much money it costs to do that. So think carefully about partnering with people. We formed an S corporation, so we are personally protected from some of that. And then we also tried to form a partnership with another business that was another couple of people that they had. And we spent a lot of money getting legal documentation written up for this partnership. And yet there were some red flags we saw on the way that they were running their business, and they ended up getting sued and going out of business right before our partnership was supposed to take effect. And we probably lost about $15,000 in legal fees on that. Right. So I would say be careful, but also doing something a little less, right, like less formal, and even just collaborating with friends, networking with businesses.
All right, do we have another question? Get everything in writing. That's what I wanted to say. We even have a contractual agreement. We just want to make sure we cover everybody's questions. We're going to stick around. Go ahead.
So I know you guys are talking about how you've kind of transitioned from corporate and now you guys are coaches yourself. What is your best advice in wanting to get into that coaching space?
Wow. What I did is I dipped my toe into it. So I was very ginger with the whole thing. And I went back to school to get a coaching, to learn how to coach. And then as part of that, in order to get my coaching certificate, I had to have a website. And so I hired someone for that. And only once I was sure that it was for me did I quit my corporate job. It's an unusual way to do things, but it really worked for me, and it lowered my fear of jumping off the cliff.
We have one more to answer that one.
Sure, I can answer that. So for me, I actually hired a nutrition coach, a life coach, a spiritual coach. And then when the market tanked and I had to look for another job, I hired a professional coach. So I worked on Clifton StrengthsFinders, Myers-Briggs, and my passions. And then it just so happened that coaching was where I wanted to go. But the same thing, as Lisa said, get your certification. I'm wearing my pin today. I don't know if you guys noticed that, for certification, because it does give you some of the foundation, then you can add your own style to and your own strengths to get started. So one of my top strengths is relationships and building community and being in front of people, but also the productivity piece that I was talking about. So I was able to work part-time in trade show sales, but bring in full-time sales numbers because I was always very focused. And you don't realize your strengths because it's something you do every day. You're like, oh, doesn't everyone want to succeed and have an action plan? Well, there are a lot of things that get in people's way. So learning that was key.
Awesome. Listen, we want to bring someone up. Yeah, we're going to stick around and answer any questions, but because you are mostly women, we have someone that I literally just threw this on him. But whenever I see him and he attends our events, I'm like, you got to come up and tell what you do that's helping other women. So this is Michael Beavis. As I said earlier, he's Director of Entrepreneurship and Innovation for the City and County of Denver. Big title. And so and an entrepreneur and an educator. I don't know how you do it all. I know, right? I don't know how you do it all.
Yeah. Hello, welcome everybody. As Barbara said, my name is Michael Beavis. I'm the Director of Innovation and Entrepreneurship for the City of Denver. I'm also an entrepreneur myself, been an entrepreneur since I was 12, so I always like to say I like to practice what I preach. I have more college degrees than I like to admit in public, so I don't normally list that as on my alphabet soup at the end of it. But I say it's my day job to create an ecosystem that allows entrepreneurs to thrive here in Denver. So connections to programming, resources, mentorship, access to capital, whatever it is that you need, come talk to me first and I can get you plugged into those resources. If those resources don't exist, I will create them. So I have a couple of things coming out. Maybe get close to your news station on October 10th. So you'll hear a couple of things about those.
I love it. And just so you know, you could catch me later at the Commons. You're going to learn how you can use the Commons for free as a co-working space and so many other things and places where you can host your own events or conferences. So that he's also, that's a part of your department as well. And we just want to say thank you so much. And to our photographer / friend, Rick Jansen, he's responsible for a lot of our brand shots. He's a realtor in real life. So we just want to say thank you. We hope you enjoy the rest of your day. And, never, ever give up. That's on my wrist. Never, ever give up, ever. Just keep going. All right, everyone.